But I promise you, everyone, that Brother Erik always has beautiful, magical surprises up his sleeves. So I welcome you to our Thursday evening session at Harmony House. If you're new to us, just hang on to your seats as we learn about peace being a gift from God. And the specific theme tonight is the topic is receiving gifts. And I know that Brother Erik is going to relate that to peace, but we haven't talked much about what he's going to do this evening because I know he just loves to surprise me too. But I do know that I've spent a little time today thinking about not only peace as a gift from God, but how difficult it is sometimes to receive gifts, whether the gift is peace, and I'm sure Brother Erik will talk about that quite a bit, or the gift is just a simple gift. Why, I ask myself, is it so much easier to give a gift than to receive a gift? And yet when it comes to something like peace, maybe to be loving, as the little song said, is the best gift of all, because the greatest gift is to give someone else the gift of peace. And of course, in order to give it, we have to have it ourselves first. So that's the direction my mind was going in. I thought the little video was lovely, and the understanding for me of humility and the simplicity of things that are automatically given if we can just stop, take a breath, and appreciate without trying too hard to please other people or please ourselves, or somehow we do a great job of making turbulence. And peace is something, even though it's our natural state, that just sometimes doesn't come naturally. So with that, I will tell you that the voice from above, Brother Erik, the voice from above Harmony House, has been with us so often and is the voice you hear all the time, most of the time, unless Narayan is here. And Brother Erik has quite a lovely resume. He is actually a director of the BK World Spiritual Organization, and one of our representatives to the United Nations. He's a member of NGO committees, non-governmental committees, on all kinds of religious beliefs and all the religions that are NGOs. And he has been a Raj Yoga meditation instructor for many, many years, and was originally a civil engineer, which I always find fascinating. I do know that Brother Erik was one of my teachers when I was new, and his insights are just special and amazing, as you know, if you've been coming here regularly and seeing him. And so I would like at this time to turn the evening over to Brother Erik. Hi, good to see you.
Greetings.
We don't often see you.
Consider yourself lucky then. But tonight, the monthly theme is the peace, gift of God. And I had the feeling that there would be a lot of presentations on peace. And so I was going to focus more on the other part of that, gift. And I was thinking about that. It's always nice to see what's happening and look at those things and play with these thoughts while we prepare. And so, gift of God. And want to take you through a little of my thinking, and then we'll see, Louise and I were gonna chat some about this. But you know, when we think of gifts, how have you been? How do you see yourself, or how do I see myself? And I know I've changed, but oftentimes it's easy to think of events, moments, days, holidays, reasons why you get a gift. Birthdays, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you might celebrate some for Easter, some for a variety of things. We weren't very much gift giving and Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So there were times, but I'm going to draw the picture, paint the picture in your mind, if you can, if this is part of your tradition. But in December, you might have celebrated something and you might have found wrapped packages around. And so what was in your mind? What were you thinking? What kind of comes from that? And, you know, ooh, I can't wait. Are you having this sense of suspense, or is there kind of can't wait? Or is there the feeling of I want more, or greedy? Is this all I get? It's very interesting to think when we get something. Are we eager for it? Do we rip it open? Or are we kind of shy? I learned from my grandmother that she would always open any package that you gave her very slowly and very carefully, because she would save the paper. she would reuse the wrapping paper. It's like, all right. And then there's others that just kind of rip it open and make a huge mess. But how well do you receive something? When somebody gives you a gift, how do you respond to that? What is your feeling? What's in the anticipation? What is it in the process of that? And I find that, you know, there was a time when I wanted things, and now I don't need so much things. And when you get a gift, and I'm kind of focusing on the mundane, the physical stuff right now, what did you do with it? How did you experience your gifts? In that sense, you know, I've got a number of things. One of the problems with these insights talking is that we share things about ourselves, and I will get gifts, and I'll get something very nice, and it's kind of like, well, that's too good to use, so I put it away in the closet, you know, and I'm happy to have it, but I know I couldn't put it out because, you know, I don't like to buy very expensive clothing. And please don't go out and shop right now for clothing for anything like this, because it's always going to end up with a little splot of spaghetti sauce or something like that. And so to have really nice and feel good about it, and then have something is a problem. So some of my better things never get used, which is kind of a silly thing to say, but it's true. And, you know, how do I experience those? Do I show it off? Do I hide it? Do I save it? Do I use it for a special occasion? What is it that I do? How do I experience those things? You know, we would get gifts and put it right on the immediate and such. And so that's another element of, you know, receiving gifts. Okay, we're in the receiving part as opposed to giving right now. But when we receive it, how do you show your appreciation? What is the process of receiving something? Because in a way, it's an obligation. When you get a gift, it's a sign of someone cares. They want you to have something. It can be an expression of love. And so how do you treat somebody else's love for you in that sense? And I was given a bowl. I was given a fruit bowl. And it's like, oh, that's nice. I hadn't thought about it much. I don't need anything in my life right now for those types of things. But it's like, okay, let me use it. And so when I receive something, can I reciprocate, not necessarily by giving something else, but by appreciating that and using that? When I receive a gift, can I show that I like it? And the best way that I think to do that is to use it. And so if anybody asks me about gifts these days, I don't need furniture, I don't need stuff. I've got more than that. I've got all these new shirts in the closet, you know that. But I think consumables are a good thing to give, because you can use those. You know, find out what somebody likes. And if they like olive oil, get that. If they like coffee, get that. If they like, fancy teas or things like that, because it can be used and it's practical and it's something that they would appreciate. It's not one more thing to, now what do I do with this? I know someone who collected salt and pepper shakers, and I think they were a certain type. And so every time they got a gift, they got the same thing from different people. So they didn't know what to do with things. And so receiving gifts can be a challenge, but that kind of sense of appreciating and using them is a nice way to express that. And when we are talking of the gifts, there was that little meditation commentary beforehand, not the song, but we had a little about that. And it was talking about the variety of gifts, and the meditation video and music was kind of scenes of nature. And we kind of want to heighten our awareness into what it is that we have received. Because for me, there are gifts all over. The song and the meditation and the visuals all kind of pointed to that. That if we choose to, we have the ability to see gifts all the time, everywhere, that we're able to kind of appreciate. And receiving gifts is kind of a quality of appreciation that develops from that. Can I really see what is available for me to enjoy, use, put into practice, have all those different qualities, about how I see things. And that can drift into our attitude, that can drift into our awareness, a variety of different ways we could take that and say, well, what is my awareness? Do I see every day as a gift? Do I appreciate the fact that I can walk? I hope you all can walk. I hope you're all able to hear me. I hope you're all able to listen. I hope that your power is on. But, do we live in a world where we appreciate and it's wonderful and there are all these miracles happening around us? We're not. We're receiving all sorts of gifts. And those gifts are things that bring wonder into our life. Excuse me. And, we get those things, we have that. And are we receiving those? Because some of the things that we can receive are on the physical and on the outside. And there are other qualities that we're going to move into. Have a little awareness. Peace is one of them. But categories that we might be able to recognize as gifts, although they're not always wrapped up underneath a Christmas tree or on your birthday or candles on a cake or things like that. But I know that in my meditation, work, study, development, practice, enjoyment, there were at least 3 different types of gifts, treasures that we receive. One is virtues, and peace might fit into that. Peace is going to be in all these categories. But are there qualities that I have received because of what I'm doing, because of how I'm addressing my life, how I'm moving through my life? But there's a lot of virtues. There's peace, and there would be, honesty, maybe. There's a variety of qualities that just we would use, contentment. And those are going to be similar to another gift that is available for us, and that's powers. I have power. And if you've ever taken a course in the Raja Yoga meditation, one of the lessons near the end is the powers, 8 powers, but there's lots of them. Peace can be a power. It's not in the typical one that we would have there, of the first 8, but there's contentment and discernment, and there's cooperation, and all of those are also gifts. And just like the sunset or the air or whatever might be around us, I want you to think and offer that thought that those qualities are around us all the time also. And one of the third category that just going to throw out there of gifts is wisdom, knowledge. That we get knowledge in our awareness and our activities. And that's a gift. It's a great gift to be able to know how things work, know how we work, know what's important in our life. And with that knowledge, then they kind of all fit together. We get some knowledge, it's a gift. We have some qualities that we apply in our life and we practice those, and there's benefits, and when we practice enough, we get some power. And so we can become very powerful in the free gifts that are available to us, that are given to us, and that are innate in us. We have many, many, many gifts if we choose to do that. And one of the things that I find just fascinating is that everything that we need is available. But in some of the classes that we have, there's a wonderful word that comes up. And it is called claiming. That all these gifts are there, and it's true. Even I'm going to go back to the Christmas tree, the presents that you might be thinking about, or birthday presents. It's wrapped. It's beautiful. Most likely there's something wonderful inside. But you still have to unwrap it and open it up. You have to take it out of the box and you have to use it. And so in this process of receiving gifts, that whole thing about receiving and claiming, that's an energy, that's an action, that's something I am responsible for doing. I have to breathe in. Luckily, it's automatic. Most of us would forget. I have to keep myself alive. I have to live. I have to do things. And I have to claim, act, in order to take what's freely available. If I don't do something, and if I don't claim it, I won't receive the gifts. And those gifts that we have that are available outside, that are available inside, we need to take. Because in my experience, we have innate qualities, but they're empowered when we have that connection with the Supreme, with God. And he comes and gives this. And, you know, it's a little like the sun's a great example, I think. The sun is just pumping out energy, free gifts all the time. There's different light, there's different qualities. But if we don't put up solar panels, we don't capture that sun. The plants do it naturally. They've got these solar plates, we call them leaves most likely. They capture that, they use it, they can do stuff with it, they grow, they claim it. They set up for themselves. So we have to do the same thing for solar power in that way, that example. And we have to do the same thing for our spiritual well-being. We have to claim it. We have to act on it. We have to receive. But receiving is an action. And that's what I'm hoping just to simplify tonight about. That the receiving gifts from God means that we have to do something. We have to claim it. We have to act on it. It's always there. It's available. And so in that process, what is it that I can claim and how do I do that? And for those that were there for the meditation commentary, whatever that was, 6:45 or so, it was very clear. Listen, be quiet. And basically we go into meditation. That's what it is. You know, We can chat and we can talk and we can have a relationship, and that's very important. But a big part of it is also just to quiet the mind. Just be available. And you can listen through your ears and you can listen through your heart. What's inside? What am I feeling? You just have to go outside in the sun and sit there. And you get that energy. You get that vitamin D. You get, can burn yourself. Be careful. I don't think anybody's OVERD'd on God's qualities that I'm aware of. But we just have to be ourselves, listen, quiet the mind. You call that Raja Yoga, meditation, zoning out. Start to slow the thoughts down. Start to think less. And when we are in that place, we can receive. We can receive gifts from God. There's a process that activates that. And it's almost contradictory. The action that we take is to be still, be quiet, and listen. And listening is the way to empower those virtues, gives us an awareness or knowledge, different way of thinking about that. And that power gives us power. We're able to claim power of peace by receiving, acting, and acting in the way that allows things to happen. The thought that comes to mind now is I've been pretty healthy, knock on wood, but there was a time when I had to have a little operation. Riding a bike, didn't have good brakes, hit a curb, went over the top, had a cut, and had to get some stitches a long time ago. And my role, my action to claim good health was to be quiet, be still, not move, so that the doctor could do what the doctor had to do. I just had to be there. In order to receive health, I had to claim health by being still. That's something else in the world, doctor there, God this, nature, whatever it's going to be, help. And one of the things about this topic now of receiving gifts is that, can I allow other people, other forces, other entities to help me? Can I receive and say, yes, I'm available to grow, to be empowered, to be helped? Because in a way, it's a gift to be simple, it's a gift to be humble. And to be that humble and simple and accepting that this is who I am, this is where I'm at, and if I'm quieting my mind, I can use the help. In the meditation, I can use the help of God. And so I have those qualities. And when I receive, then we kind of move into another dynamic that's coming. I receive, and if you've ever received something, maybe a phone call with information, it happened today. A couple people, got some information and wanted to then do the next thing when you receive something. They wanted to share that. So the big news today was Queen Elizabeth. I'm assuming you all know that. There's a new king of England. And so that we receive something, automatically, there's a process, if we allow it, we want to give. And so receiving a gift, whether it's peace or whatever God might have for us and whatever the world gives us, there's this sense that there's a joy and appreciation, having that. And depending what it is and who you are and what the process that we went through at the beginning, there's a natural inclination that I want to share. I want to share my joy. I want to share my enthusiasm. I want to share what I got. If you're going to send me some coffee, we'll make some coffee. I want to share that with you. So happy, whatever it might turn out to be. But then there's this recognition that receiving, being quiet, I get something and then I have some energy and I want to share it. And so then I'm in this process of flow. Flow is a wonderful word, I think. Things have to move in order to stay alive. And so if you give me something, I'll say, this is great. And I'll want to give it to somebody else right away. So I'll use the qualities of my grandmother and save the package and save the paper and save the gift. I have to share a story one time when I first came to New York. I moved into an apartment that somebody else I knew was moving out. And she's actually been a speaker here. And Sister Kala, they were close to Harmony House and moving out of an apartment. And I was just coming into town. And so it worked out fine. And so they moved out and I moved in, and they had a nice, semi-nice little picture on the wall. And they didn't take that. Like, okay, here it is. And then we got invited to some holiday party, and then we all had to bring a gift and had some sort of game to exchange things. And okay, here's something, ran out of time, was kind of busy. So I wrapped up this little wall hanging, and we brought that in. And so it turned out that Sister Kala got this gift. She had the package, and she opened it up and looked at it, and it's like, oh, this is great. Wait a minute. Then she got very upset, very funny. But she went, oh, when she realized that it was there. Sometime later on, she gave it back to me as a gift. Not sure where it's at now. But that process of giving gifts, letting it flow, appreciating something and wanting to share it. And sometimes we hold on to things, and I got this, and we have stories and such like that. But there is that process, of the karma comes in also. When we receive and appreciate that and can use it, and then can share either the thing or the feelings and pass that along, and according to the lessons I've learned and the classes I teach, something else comes back. We receive, we share, something else will come. And that flow goes around. And that flow is what kind of makes our life worthwhile. If you don't have people, if you don't have activity, if you don't have someone who wants to share with you or you want to share with them, I hope you don't know that experience. But you're kind of cut off then. You're not getting anything, doesn't go anywhere. You have nowhere to put it. And then so it becomes an empty feeling. Something's plugged, something's stopped. And so understanding that we are spiritual, we have qualities, peace, love, happiness, and that we have a source, a relationship, we have a way of receiving, physical, internal, external from God. And when we allow all that to be known, then we won't be plugged, we won't be stopped. We will receive, we will appreciate, we will share that, it will flow, and it will then increase. And so want to have that awareness created in you that, there's gifts everywhere. Do I receive? Do I claim? Do I take an action and actually appreciate whatever I can? And can I do something with that feeling of appreciation? because somebody else can receive that same quality. And it's probably the greatest experience we can have as souls here living in the world, is to experience something and to know that somebody else understands that. And it's one of those principles that I like something and I laugh, and I kind of want to see if anybody else laughs, because doing that together empowers it, enhances it. It strengthens that. There's a relationship that grows. And so that quality of cooperation is a great power. How can I be a part of it? How can I share? How can I appreciate? All that comes together. And I think these are some of the qualities that come from understanding how to receive. And I want to see if I clicked on something and I lost it. I don't know where it went. Oh, well. The element I want to share now, if it's okay, Louise will chat in a second, but there's something I want to kind of explain, I guess, is that we don't have to do everything on our own. And if it's okay, I'm going to share the screen. I think it's this one. And can you see two little boys looking at each other's stuff? Thought for the, okay. Good thoughts for a healthy mind. And this thought is for September 8, 2022, comparison with others. And they're so cute, look at that. Each has something and each is looking at the other in comparison. And there's a nice little gift that is offered, little statement. Comparing yourself with others will leave you vulnerable on 3 counts. You'll either feel inferior, superior, or impressed. And it goes on to explain that. And what I'm mentioning this for is it's thought for the day, that you're able to get and receive a gift every day if you want. This isn't the only one, but the Brahma Kumaris has a number of I guess, emails that they would send out that, you know, can kind of brighten your day. And it's a way to receive a gift. It's not a direct voice from heaven, but it is like that. So if you want to subscribe, you want to receive these thoughts in your email, details here, you put your name and address, and then you have to subscribe. You have to do it on your own. And this one is in the UK. Thought for the day.org UK, and you can probably find a few of those. But I mention that because I want you to all have daily gifts, receive something and experience that and have a good feeling, whether it's peace or a little bit of wisdom or knowledge, and be able to apply that in your life. And, you know, that will give you something to share, something to flow, something to do. So you need to sign up, you need to claim it, and then you need to share it. And I hope, and this is my great wish, that you have someone that you can share that with. Whether you call that service, or whether you call that loving, or whether you call that caring, doesn't matter. But to be able to receive something, a nice thought, and feel that God loves you, and then be able to appreciate that and share that is also something that I think is very beneficial. If we're silent, we receive. If we receive, we have an experience, and we want to give that everywhere. There's something that we can receive. There are gifts all over, outside, inside, upside, downside, right side, all those things. And so at that point, I'm going to invite Louise back in and see just what it is that we might discuss together, share a little about it. But I'm hoping that you have received a gift from tonight, and that conversation might have been sparking an idea?
Too many ideas. I can't write fast enough. I can't listen and write at the same time. And it's just triggered so much. So if I may, I have to go back to the image that's been planted in my mind ever since you began to speak. And it's the image of the innocent baby, the innocence, because I do know from the Brahmins that peace is my natural state,
Okay.
but it gets buried. It gets buried. And to access it, to take an action that frees me enough to be in touch with what's inside of me, a natural state, and to see it in nature is a choice. And it does involve very often, we call it detaching, separating oneself from the busyness and the ego and what you described in the gift giving options and gift receiving options. I'm laughing because I am a person who loves getting gifts, and I married someone whom you cannot buy a gift for. Now look how complicated that is, because after 40 years of marriage, I've become a little bit like him, and I don't want to be like that. I'm the baby. I'm the child who just loves the communion of two people. You give me, I give you. And I have been surrounded by this family, this Lokic family that does not like gifts because they feel, oh my goodness, what am I going to do back? And it becomes supercharged. And I think that the beautiful gift of choosing a spiritual path is that we can, as you said in the beginning, carve that little place. And the last thing I want to say about that, go to that other place where we're alone, and we're alone with God. And the thing is, what I've learned here, last thing, is that experiencing what I learn is the key.
Okay.
And to be able to tune out anyone else, any influence, and give purely and receive purely means I'm connected to God. Because the other way, I'm trying to figure things out on my own, and maybe I feel good for the wrong reasons. Maybe I feel bad for the wrong reasons. It's so complicated. So to uncomplicate is to be peaceful, I think. And that's what I got out of you were saying. A baby just knows the bright colors, unwrap the gift. They're not old enough yet to make a judgment, and it's just that innate curiosity of our species and our innate goodness, I think, in giving, wanting to give before it ever gets complicated. So you've brought the answer here. You brought the answer, but it takes an awful lot of practice, I think.
That's a big part of it. That's where I really like that and enjoy that. The process and the word that is used is claiming. You have the right. First, you have to, accept that. That's a gift, to believe that you have the right to be happy and to be peaceful and to be loved.
Exactly.
And so accepting that and understanding that and believing that, and then knowing that it is there. And so take the first step. And when you can do that, the world changes. But, there's all sorts of wonderful little stories that are told about, people receiving things because they did something and they get a return for that. And so, it's interesting to think that you are worthy of receiving gifts from God just because that's who you are. Okay. And you don't have to do anything, but now that you recognize that you are worthy, you have to accept it. And maybe there are people you've met who, oh, no, I don't want anything, don't get me, and for whatever reason, but that's an arrogance. It's a different type of an arrogance than we're used to. I deserve everything, I want things, but to deny self-worthiness is a different type of an arrogance, and it's false. It is not who we are. We are worthy of receiving things. Now, don't expect everybody to give you something all the time. There's always a balance in these things. But it's wonderful to think that, yes, I am, and the phrase that comes up that's very easy to understand, as you talked about the little child, a little baby, child of God. That I am child of God, I am worthy of that. Everything is available for it. So I still have to, accept it, do something with it, claim that, become that.
You called it arrogance when someone has that attitude. And I'm just thinking also that there's a basic lack of understanding that you're depriving the gift giver of a beautiful experience. Because as you said, it's better to give than to receive. Because, and one thing I learned here, and it's so accessible, is that, I mean, I had an interchange the other day with someone, and it really shifted their attitude. It was a very calm, wasn't a fight. It wasn't I'm right, you're wrong. And lo and behold, this person was capable of changing the attitude that they came in with. And it wasn't until the next morning that I allowed myself to feel the joy, because I had gone to God and said, okay, give me words, help me here. And I automatically unwrapped my own gift that was inside of me. And I just became this instrument, because I wasn't focused on, and this is a turnaround for me. I've lived many decades. I wasn't focused on how am I doing, Louis, oh, look what I did. It was a very, you use the word humility way in the beginning. It's a humble gesture to be able to receive a gift purely or to give it. So it's very complicated. But when you said, be silent, quiet the mind, that's the personal space that I have to go to before I can interact according to my virtues, right?
Yeah, I think so. And maybe it can happen naturally, or simply, or such like that. But we do have the ability and the power to enhance that, whatever it is. And it's wonderful to discover things, and so to try different things and put ourselves in different situations and such like that. If we do that, we will receive more awareness about ourselves. And that is a great gift. It might not always be what we want or what we think should be there or what we desire for the outcome. But if we can kind of just appreciate whatever's going on, there's always a gift in everything that's happening. It's a wonderful way to kind of see the world, see the interactions. Might not be what we think, but there's a wonderful principle that everything is right. Whatever's happening is the correct thing that should be happening. And so if you can accept that and use that as the basis, then you're not going to be judging anything. You're just going to be pretty much enjoying what it is. Well, I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know you were going to say that. This is different. This is a little more challenging than I had hoped for. So what? It's, life is a game. Life is kind of fun. It's an adventure. We get to use things about ourselves we might not even know. And so, I do hope, and I try my best to do this for myself, that our life is a great gift. Every moment, every breath, everything that's going on around us is just amazing. And so do you live in that world of being amazed? Do you appreciate whatever's going on? So many times you've heard people say, oh, if I only, would have appreciated it before I lost it. Now I miss this, and now I recognize how important it is, and all those things. When my finger hurts, it's like, oh yeah, when my tooth, when my toe, and all that stuff. It's like, oh yeah, we have so many gifts that we're not even thinking about. And so if we have that, we get happy, and then we can be peaceful.
But it takes courage, I think, because we learn from a very early age. I mean, look at those two little boys sitting next to each other. They're so young and they're so programmed already to be competitive, to be jealous. So we come in born and we are learning from culture, parents, religion. In order to be what we're talking about, I have to give myself the gift of letting go and really receiving from myself. You know, I remember so vividly for my 4th birthday, I wanted a cowgirl outfit. And I unwrapped the whole thing and I'm so excited when I see, you know, what it is, but it only had one gun.
Oh, that's
And
bad.
I
You
spent
were a
the
killer
rest
there.
of the day sulking. And because the boys had 2 guns and I only had 1 gun. And I remember being so devastated. I was 4. And then of course my parents were angry at me for wrecking the party and it was a mess. And it's one of my first recollections was how not to graciously accept a gift and be disappointed. So by the time we get to be adults, we've got all this wrapping paper and ribbons going on in the psyche, you know? It's really hard.
I think the boys got 2 guns and the girls got a gun and a whip. Didn't they get it? Didn't you get a whip?
No, there was no whip. No. They didn't give me, they probably couldn't afford the whip.
So see how that goes.
They saved up for that 1 gun.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
With no chaps. Yeah. But
You're
seriously though, yeah. I'm okay now, I think. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is I'm okay if I hang around here. and just kind of have that place you're talking about where nobody enters and then I can give it away. You know, and no matter what goes on outside, we can still look at nature and we can still see that sun shining and the green of first year COVID without the polluted skies and your garden at Harmony House. It's like she's fighting, Mother Nature.
The greatest thing, I guess, is if someone can come to terms with a recognition of self and a recognition of relationship with God and receiving in that connection, in that remembrance, in that thought, because then everything else kind of flows together. And I think if one hasn't received that, hasn't felt that, then there's always going to be a lack or a loss, or, you know, you're going to get most things, but gosh, I didn't get my 2nd gun, you know.
I know.
Want everybody, because it's real easy to have the habit of looking at what's wrong.
Yes.
It's a deep sand scar for many.
Absolutely. And we can really retrain ourselves. And I have this feeling that I know from my own experience that if I touch something once, no one can ever, a truth,
yeah,
not physically, no one can ever tell me it's wrong or take it away. Okay. And it really is a question of having the courage and the faith that whatever the situation is, I mean, really, when things are calm and we feel peaceful, it's short-lived if we're not meditating. But it's so hard to live in relationship with people who are bringing you very confusing, chaotic things every minute, bum, bum, bum. So this is a very special place to be alone with God.
Good.
In the silence.
I agree.
And people think they're doing it wrong. You know, a lot of people who come here, I think, they talk about how do I meditate? I don't know how to meditate. This idea of an open-eyed meditation. Would you care to explain that a little bit to people who may be confused about meditation? Is that a direction you want to go in?
Sure, we can do a little of that. But the awareness of, you know, being somebody, you know, and having certain qualities, and then being able to have your attention brought to that. You know, I am a peaceful being. I have this quality of caring. when one starts to think along those lines, then you don't have to close your eyes to be happy. You don't have to close your eyes to feel joy. You know, there's lots of different levels of that, but why not learn to experience that and be able to activate that, not just 5 minutes in the morning or 45 minutes in the morning or an hour on Sunday, or, you know, whenever it is that you might think it's sufficient. It becomes a way of being. And so when you act, when you go to work, your eyes are open, you're doing things, but you're still thinking. And one of the things, you know, I think everybody who's ever driven knows that you can drive, but your mind's somewhere else. You know, whether your conversation or this or that, or, you know, what happened in the last half hour, where was I? Happens, it can happen, it can happen. And so it's the same thing. You know, your mind is wandering. Why not guide it to a feeling or a thought that triggers the experiences that you want? And so open-eyed meditation is just basically choosing to have a thought that's going to create the experience, and having that experience in whatever you're doing. God comes in and all sorts of other stuff, but basically you're starting, if you close your eyes, you cut off a lot of visual, but it's a hard way to go through the day. And so it's practicing bringing that into your life. You know, if there's a joke or a story or a person or an image that is the entry point into a feeling, think of that, experience that, and carry that in. And one of the easiest ways to begin something like that is to have that awareness that, you know, positive affirmations, I can do this, it's going to be okay. That energy comes, you do it, you realize that that's possible, and so then you have a new habit. So,
Yeah. There was something someone said this morning in class, how the power to shift our consciousness really does create reality.
yeah, yeah.
It really does shift.
And there's a lot of challenges to that going on in the world right now, what we see and what's happening. But if you can move into that place that I am spiritual being, there is an order that's going on, there is a reason for things going on, deep karma stuff happening, and it's all going to be okay. It is okay. And so I'm okay. And so let me act from that state of awareness. And I just share those qualities, have that power, and things work out, even though they might not be the way I wanted it to. One of my favorite, it's not necessarily a biblical quote or story, but it was with a conversation between Job and God. You know, all this stuff is going on, and he's very patient, and whatever's happening, if you know the story. But it's like, you know, why are you doing this? What's happening? You know, kind of a little bit of a complaint. And you shouldn't do this, and, you know, giving it to him. Job was giving it to God. And God replies, where were you when I created the world? Like, pretty much saying, what right do you have to judge what's going on? I'm in charge. It's my world. And pretty much trust me, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. So that sense of where were we? It's not our world, and we're a part of it, and we can help create it. But do we receive the gifts that God gives us and use it? If we do, we'll get more. If we don't, it'll dry up. And so that recognition, very important. And I have a gift for everybody.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Is it that time? We've got 2 minutes till 8.
It's that time. And so the closing meditation is going to be another gift. You are all to receive this gift and experience it.
I'm open.
And to use it.
I'm ready.
The one who gives blessings receives more power. than the one who is blessed. And so we receive in our life, we receive from God, and He's blessing us. And now you have received the gift of peace, joy, happiness. Can you share that and give those blessings to others? Because you will be blessed in return. And so may you all feel blessed tonight, and may you all have this understanding that you are rightful to receive what your community has, what nature has, what the world has, what God has. So accept it, enjoy it, and share it.
Yes, just so beautiful. Thank you for a beautiful evening. Before we leave, would you like to tell people of the special program that we are going to have next week?
Sure. Next week, there will be a Zoom Insight, but it's also going to be live from Global Harmony House. And those who can make that journey and trip and feel comfortable, it's going to be one of our, I think, the first public program at Harmony House in 2 years. And so there's a senior Brahma Kumari brother who's going to be there, Brother Charlie, but he's also going to be on a panel, and there's going to be some interviews, some entertainment, and it will start at 6:30, but those that can and are wanting, come before that. Try to be seated at 6:15 if you can, get things set. There'll be meditation going on. We plan to have a wonderful evening with a variety of dignitaries. If you're Long Island area, one of our political leaders, John Kamen, is going to participate. We've got some positive responses from the other invited guests. And so it should be a wonderful evening, and all of you are welcome to join either in person in Great Neck at Global Harmony House, or it will be on Zoom also. And if you feel like that's the way you want to watch, we will be here. Don't be late, enjoy, and may you have many insights and receive many gifts tonight and this week.
And next week.
Everyone. And next week.
Om Shanti, everyone. See you next week.
Very good.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Bye. Good night now.
Good night.